They were continuing to read the Pilgrim's Progress. Thus they went on till they came to the place where Evangelist met with Christian and Faithful, and foretold them what should befall them at Vanity Fair. Then said their guide, Hereabouts did Christian and Faithful meet with Evangelist, who foretold them of their troubles which they should meet with at Vanity Fair. Say you so? I dare say it was a hard chapter then, that he did read unto them. It was, but he gave them encouragement withal. But what do we talk of them? They were a couple of lion-like men. They had set their faces like flint. Do not you remember how undaunted they were when they stood before the judge? Well, Faithful bravely suffered. So he did, and as brave things came on it, for Hopeful and some others, as the story relates it, were converted by his death. Well, but pray go on, for you are well acquainted with things. Above all that Christian met with after he had passed through Vanity Fair, one Bayans was the arch one. Bayans, what was he? A very arch fellow, a downright deceiver, one that would be religious which way soever the world went, but so cunning that he would be sure never to lose or suffer for it. He had his mode of religion for every fresh occasion, and his wife was as good at it as he, and he would turn and change from opinion to opinion, yea, and plead for so doing too. But as far as I could learn, he came to an ill end with his buy-ins, nor did I ever hear that any of his children were ever of any esteem with any that truly feared God. Now by this time they were come within sight of the town of Vanity, where Vanity Fair is kept. So when they saw that they were so near the town, they consulted with one another how they should pass through the town. And some said one thing and some another. At last Mr. Greatheart said, I have, as you may understand, often been a conductor of pilgrims through this town. Now I am acquainted with one Mr. Nason, a Cyprusian by nature, an old disciple, at whose house we may lodge. If you think good, said he, we will turn in there. Content, said Old Honest. Content, said Christiana. Content, said Mr. Feeble-mind. And so they said all. Now you must think it was eventide. By what? Question. By that they got to the outside of the town. But Mr. Greatheart knew the way to the old man's house. So thither they came, and he called at the door. And the old man within knew his tongue so soon as ever he heard it. So he opened the door, and they all came in. Then said Nason, their host, How far have ye come today? So they said, "From the house of Gaius, our friend." "I promise you," said he, "you have come a good stitch. You may well be weary. Sit down." So they sat down. Then said their guide, "Come, what cheer, sirs? I dare say you are welcome to my friend." "I also," said Mr. Nason, "do bid you welcome, and whatever you want, do but say, and we will do what we can to get it for you. Our great want a while since was a resting place and good company, and now I hope we have both. For resting place you see what it is, but for good company that will appear in the trial." "Well," said Greatheart, "will you have the pilgrims up into their lodging?" "I will," said Mr. Nason. So he had them up to their several places, and also showed them a very fair dining room, where they might be, and sup together until time should come to go to rest. Now when they were set in their places, and were a little cheery after their journey, Mr. Honest asked his landlord if there were any store of good people in the town. "We have a few, for indeed they are but a few when compared with them on the other side. But how shall we do to see some of them? For the sight of good men to them that are going on pilgrimage is like the appearing of the moon and stars to them that are sailing upon the seas." Then Mr. Nason stamped with his foot, and his daughter Grace came up. So he said unto her, "Grace, go you, tell my friends, Mr. Contrite, Mr. Holyman, Mr. Lovesaint, Mr. Dare not lie, and Mr. Penitent, that I have a friend or two at my house who have a mind this evening to see them." So Grace went to call them, and they came, and after salutation made, Christians, after salutation made, they sat down together at the table. Then said Mr. Nason, their landlord, "My neighbors, I have, as you see, a company of strangers come to my house. They are pilgrims. They come from afar, and are going to Mount Zion. But who," quoth he, "do you think this is?" Pointing with his finger to Christiana. "It is Christiana, the wife of Christian, that famous pilgrim who, with Faithful his brother, was so shamefully handled in our town." At that they stood amazed, saying, "We little thought to see Christiana when Grace came to call us. Wherefore this is a very comfortable surprise." They then asked her of her welfare, and if these young men were her husband's sons. And when she told them they were, they said, "The King whom you love and serve make you as your father, and bring you where he is in peace." Then Mr. Honest, when they had all sat down, asked Mr. Contrite and the rest in what posture their town was at present. "You may be sure we are full of hurry in fair time. 'Tis hard keeping our hearts and spirits in good order when we are in a cumbered condition. He that lives in such a place as this, and has to do with such as we have, has need of a hint to caution him to take heed every moment of the day." "But how are your neighbors for quietness?" "They are much more moderate now than formerly. You know how Christian and Faithful were used at our town. But of late, I say, they have been far more moderate." "I think the blood of Faithful lieth as a load upon them till now, for since they burned him, they have been ashamed to burn any more. In those days we were afraid to walk the street. But now we can show our heads. Then the name of a Christian was hated. Now especially in some parts of our town, for you know our town is large, religion is counted, honorable. And that's the end of the reading for today. Have a good day.